Welcome to Holstein Connections, where we share the latest stories, insights, and news from Holstein Association USA and beyond. The largest dairy cattle breed association in the world, Holstein Association USA provides leadership, information, and services to help dairy producers worldwide be successful. Whether you're in the barn, on the road, or just tuning in for your dose of dairy news, we're glad you're here. This is Holstein Connections.
Welcome back, Holstein enthusiasts. I'm Emily Bosch, Senior Communications Manager, and joining me today is this year's Distinguished Leadership Award recipient. The award is bestowed annually upon an individual who has provided outstanding and unselfish leadership and has made a notable contribution to the dairy industry. This year's Distinguished Leadership Award recipient, Tom Morris, is a true trailblazer in the dairy industry. Tom, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Emily. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm certainly honored and humbled to join the list that have gone before me with this leadership. Certainly a lot of them on the list were my mentors as I read down through them. I'm so appreciative to everything everybody's done.
So, Tom, you certainly have a long history in the dairy industry and have done many, many things over the years. But take us back to your childhood first. What was it like growing up on a registered Holstein farm? How did your experiences as a child and young adult really shape your interest in the dairy industry?
Well, I grew up in southeastern Wisconsin and certainly were, I guess, lucky to growing up there. Growing up on a farm, Arwen Farms, owned and operated by my dad and uncle, and went through 4-H like most people, I guess, and showed and really, really enjoyed it. Caught the bug early in life, showing at the county fair and junior state fair in Wisconsin was a big deal. District shows and surrounded by people that were really excited about the industry at that time. And having an address of Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, it made us only 4 or 5 miles away from Pabst Farms, which was a very, very world-renowned Holstein breeding establishment at that time, not just showing cattle, but breeding good cattle and exporting bulls around the world. So my dad and uncle were pretty close to the Pabst organization, and I can remember growing up when they were putting the stalls in the boxcars. It'd take 2 or 3 days for the boxcars to get the different wood slabs in there to divide the cattle. And what was interesting about that is they'd come around and look and see, and every few years or every other year or something, we'd have 1 or 2 on those loads of cattle going to the national show in Waterloo, Iowa, and Chicago, and even the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto. And it's interesting that we won a few classes at Waterloo that way and one back in '54 at the Royal Winter Fair. This is kind of what was bred into me and born into me and raised into me was the registered Holstein industry. Usually we never had a full string to go to anything over the district show, so we tied in with like Pabst, and then later on we tied in with Alan Hetz's Crescent Beauty string at State Fair and World Dairy Expo for the first few years. So that's kind of where I got bitten by the registered Holstein industry, I guess you'd say.
Thank you for sharing those memories with us, Tom. From there, I know your journey took you to college, and I know you spent some time as a member of the dairy judging team, not just as a member, but as a successful member of the judging team too. So tell us a little bit about those experiences next.
Well, college is a great time of your life, and I was there at the time where I was surrounded by all kinds of kids my age that were really excited about registered cattle, registered dairy cattle, be it the Brown Swiss or the Jerseys, or in our case, the Holsteins. Yes, I was a member of the judging team, and we won the contest at World Dairy Expo, and I was fortunate to be a high individual at the contest, and it was kind of a thrill and just another launch into the real world after I had to graduate from college. While I was in college, I spent a lot of time traveling, showing cattle in the Midwest, and either in the southern Midwest, I guess you'd call it, in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. And my GPA or grade point seemed to slip my last couple of years there because I was traveling maybe a little too much. But the knowledge and friendships and connections I made over those years certainly helped me further down the line.
Well, I'm sure those experiences that you had on the road were just as valuable to you as a young adult as college was. So, Tom, what were your first couple of jobs after college, and how did they allow you to share your passion for the dairy industry with others?
When I graduated from Madison, I accepted a position at Northwoods Technical Institute, which it's called now. It's up in New Richmond, Wisconsin, which is less than an hour from St. Paul, Minneapolis, the Twin Cities. I joined two other young instructors, and we designed the first post-secondary 9-month dairy herdsmanship program in the country. And being with young instructors was a lot of fun. We were young and, aggressive with it. And the one thing that I remember now is the administrators and my supervisors encouraged me to go out and judge more county fairs and district shows and a few state shows and work sales and promote the program. And I was a little confused about it, but I was happy to do it. And the program just really, really took off. We had inquiries and students from pretty much all the way across the USA and up into Canada. And it became a really unique program for several years. Now, we had to kind of change it after we started getting kids from outside the area. So everybody that went there lived on a farm, either their home farm or we'd house them on a farm for their room and board and to work both morning and night and then go to school. So it was kind of a really unique program in that it was 100% pushed that everybody got along, everybody worked together. We had a lot of field trips, a lot of outside people come in and speak to the class. Always had a field trip to World Dairy Expo for 3 days. Started the year at Minnesota State Fair. Many of the students had never been to a large state fair. So it was just a marvelous time in life for both the students, but probably us instructors even more so. Very rewarding. We still carry a lot of students, former students as friends. Many of them have really impacted our industry, both in the registered and the commercial farms. So it's something that it means a lot to me, I guess. The more I look back at it, it's a job and a real job. Well, it's the only real job I ever had, but it was great times. During that time, I also worked with the Al Piper organization from time to time on weekends. And sometimes we even took students along for a day or two to help in the barns and prepare the cattle. And another great experience for both myself and students, but it all blended together so well.
Well, Tom, not only were you an instructor for a dairy program and helping with auctioneering, but you also spent time managing your own herd of cows near Amory, Wisconsin, along with your family. Tell us a little bit about the highlight of that time in your life and your family as well.
Well, about halfway through my teaching career, Sandy, for some ungodly reason, decided she wanted to buy a farm. And well, that's not really true because we always both had the dream of someday having a farm. But the pieces kind of fell together. And very shortly after our first couple of conversations, we purchased our first farm, Duranda Farm, and moved onto a small farm and had a select herd of cows. And at that time, I back down to half-time at school, which I just went in mostly and did the classroom instruction work and passed the other details over to the other two that were working with me. Duranda Farm was really involved in showing and merchandising. Maybe unlike Sandy's folks or my folks, we were more into merchandising and not too worried about breeding a homebred herd for 50 years. we exported cattle throughout Latin America and Europe and Japan. And during those times, we also, in the 1980s, conducted 3 complete dispersals. The interesting thing is each one of them was the highest averaging dispersal in our breed in the country. And certainly we were raising Mariah and Adam were here and trying to start a family with them. Our sale business continued to grow a little more and more. And the time had come that after about 13 years, we discontinued milking here. And really, it was the herdsmen that worked here and the foreign trainees that really allowed our dreams to come through on that phase of our life here at Dry the Farm. We still live here on the farm. We still own quite a few cattle that are not here. They're either boarded or housed with partners. But every summer we have something called summer camp here. And our good friends and longtime friends down in the Richmond Christome delivers 4 or 5 or 6 dry cows to graze to lots. And that's always been a kind of a neat deal that they truck them up here and they come back and forth. And of course they bring the feed and they bring the protein. And Sandy and I pretty well have the grass and the water. That's our end of the whole partnership. But Doranda's was another great phase.
Absolutely. And it's certainly fun to have a few cows around for the summer these days, too, I'm sure.
It is.
So, Tom, in 1982, you established your own sale management business. Over the years, you've served as an auctioneer in nearly 40 states from coast to coast, as well as Canada and Europe. How did you decide to start this business?
Well, how it really started is my first mentor in 4-H and he coached our judging teams was Harvey Swartz, and probably is the voice of experience. He was an auctioneer and sold sales all over it. He's the guy that put the bug in me way back in college that I should try that. Well, as life goes on, we work for Alvin R. Piper and Associates for many, many years. We learned the business there. 1982, Jim Hoskins and I decided to go and start our own sale management company. We worked together for several years and pretty well ended after the 1986 National Convention sale held in Milwaukee, which was our first one of those. Jim and I both worked with each other from time to time after that. Sandy and I have been privileged to high-profile sales of the herds across the country from coast to coast. Well, after working with Al Piper for several years doing education, I continued to go more full-time with the organization after I discontinued my career in education. And then in 1982, Jim Hoskins, who was also with the Pipers, we decided to go on our own and start a sale management business, which we continued for several years until about 1986 when we ran our first national convention sale, which was held in our home state of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Sandy and I continued in the sales business. We're really privileged to travel a great deal and disperse a lot of herds, high-profile herds that were at the top of the industry during their era, be it the commercial herds or the investor herds on the East Coast, including we did the South Fork sale, the Dallas TV deal down in Dallas, Texas, that still has the highest averaging Holstein sale of all time. We were privileged to do 9 national convention sales, and in a few weeks we'll be in Madison in our 36th World Classic sale in Madison. In addition, I also like to travel and do sales as an auctioneer, and we did a lot of sales across the country, state sales, some sales that I worked for other auctioneering associates. And that was always fun, and that's how I got to travel across the country. And the one hard thing, back then it was early spring sales and late fall sales. So the schedules got really, really tight. A lot of days are at 3-4 sales in a row. And But that's what I enjoyed. And I do miss the people, not so much the cows, as the people traveling. And when you go back to one sale for 6, 8, 10 years, every year or twice a year, you get really close with some people. And that's what I really, really enjoyed.
And Tom, what was the most rewarding part about your work as a sales manager and auctioneer?
I think it's the people. I think good cows come and go. Friendships last a lifetime. You know, you got to be on your A game every time you're for an auctioneer, every day, be it selling one or two in a consignment sale for a breeder, or what's really probably more difficult to do is when a family entrusts their lifetime of work and a retirement in your hands, you actually feel the responsibility. And there's no do-over. You don't get a second chance. You got the one game, so you better be at your A game. And it's extremely rewarding to have a successful sale for people, particularly those people when you're selling the entire herd of cattle. That's what it really is about.
What do you think the key to managing a successful sale is?
Good sales don't just happen, they're managed. That pretty well covers it. Organization. An auctioneer is just one of an army to put on a sale. And it takes a lot of different tasks from the start to the end to put on a good sale. You know, you're talking about promotion, you're talking about sales site preparation, you're talking about the health requirements, you're talking about post and pre-sale details that must be done, plus clerking, handling the money. Every one of those things have to be accomplished until you can have a good sale. It's not just about an auctioneer, it's not just about one person. It's about covering all the details.
And organization and teamwork are certainly good lessons, not just for managing sales, but really for anything in life.
Correct.
Before we dive into more of your story, Tom, a quick break to learn more about Holstein USA.
Do you know where your dairy farm's data is taking you? With AgriTech Analytics, gain valuable insights into milk production, herd health, and sustainability on your farm. Whether it is printed reports or data integration with your herd software, ATA makes it easy to track and manage your herd performance. Ready to get your dairy data delivered? Visit agritech.com today to get started and see how easy it is to make data-driven decisions on your farm. AgriTech Analytics is a division of Holstein Association USA.
Ordering ear tags just got easier with myholstein.com. Holstein Association USA's new online tag store features clearly displayed tag product categories, pictures of every tag option, and easily visible volume discounts. With order confirmation emails, shipping updates, and faster turnaround times, you'll know when your tags are on the way. Plus, enjoy pre-filled account details and access to order history for faster reorders, because we know your time is valuable. Order ear tags anytime, anywhere with the new mobile-friendly website. Visit myholstein.com to log in and place an order today.
Tom, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about your involvement in World Dairy Expo. You didn't just enjoy attending, but you haven't missed one since its inception. Tell me about your experiences managing the World Classic at World Dairy Expo over the years.
We've been part of World Dairy Expo for many years. In fact, Sandy and my families, both of us, shared the same dream as the founding fathers that we needed a new show, and we wanted it in Madison. Both families had exhibited at Waterloo and Chicago and etc. So they both donated heifers to the two auctions that raised money for the show, to seed money. That was where you just plain let them come and pick one of your better heifers, and you sold it 100%, and there it was. And so we started before Expo ever really kicked off in 1968. the World Classic. We were honored to be asked to manage the Friday night event. At that time, it was one of the premier events of World Dairy Expo. If you look at the old pictures, the Coliseum was half full with several thousand Holstein enthusiasts from around the world. We took one look at the place and said, we got lights, we got sound systems. So we tried to put on some sort of an opening each and every year, a little different type of an opening to draw a crowd in. Things like that really stepped it up to be known as the international marketplace of our industry. But when you run sale after sale, you try to keep innovative. We imported 2 calves from a brother and a sister from Europe. We had them quarantined somewhere off the island east of New Jersey. I guess I never was there, but they were there most of the summer to allow to get into the States. We sold the first clone ever. We sold, flushes from European breeders. The interesting thing is we've always had a big foreign market, and for the first probably 25 years or maybe more, 1/4 of the selections were sold foreignly. So now we still sell quite a few, but of course they're housed here and the embryos are shipped. It used to be they had to go into quarantine and you didn't probably ship them till Christmas and they had to pass all the tests. And it's a lot easier now to just let them stay here and ship the embryos. So yeah, the World Classic continues to evolve. You try to keep up with the times in this fast changing business. But once again, the World Classic is pretty much about people. We've always been blessed to be able to surround ourselves with good people for the last 30-some years of running it coast to coast, selecting cattle and fitting crews. The entire, it's not just about Sandy and I, it's about a lot of people. One guy, he's crowning in his 20th year at Scott Culbertson. We call him the captain of the crew, and he is pretty much the captain of the whole crew, be it the sale crew, the fitting crew, whatever. He's in charge, and it's done just plain a marvelous job. Jason Danoff has been bringing in European people to help us with the cattle. Well, they're all week on display. And of course, I shouldn't miss out that for well over 25 years, Horace Pacus has been involved or was involved. Horace traveled with us in the sale business from coast to coast with good sales and dispersals. He was alongside of me 9 times in the national conventions and more than 25 times in Madison. You know him as the pedigree reader, the Holstein historian. Sandy and I know him as one of the finest people we've ever met in life. We came really, really close to him and we learned so much from him. He's a great mentor.
Certainly so many special people and special memories from your time doing the World Classic sales, Tom. You've also been involved in serving on the Dairy Cattle Exhibitors Committee and the Executive and Building Committees. So what are some of the highlights from your time on those committees and your involvement in World Dairy Expo that way?
I've been on the Dairy Committee for many, many years, and the last Executive Committee and then the last, I don't know how many years, been vice president of the board of directors, and it's been a learning experience. It's time consuming, but I've learned so much there, and so many things have changed, and I'm sure they'll continue to change. But all the way from health check-ins to the dreams of building bigger barns, which turned into 2 beautiful, beautiful pavilions. And there's ethics. There's bird flu. There'll be new challenges as you go on down the line, but it's been very, very rewarding. And I think it's interesting to bring up that everybody on the boards and committees and subcommittees are all volunteers. And there's several hundred of them if you go out on the grounds. Expo's really growing, certainly from day one, but there's right at 100 foreign countries that people come from each and every year. That's pretty incredible. There's so many moving pieces. It's a high price to rent the grounds. Sometimes I sit there and think 2 hours on a Thursday night at the World Classic. That's what it's about. Well, it kind of is, but we all have to work together to build the greatest show on earth. And that's what I think I've really learned from being involved with it so much.
Tom, then in 1990, you also launched the Cattle Connection, which of course has connected buyers and sellers from coast to coast for over 30 years. Tell us more about the need you saw, how you filled that need with the Cattle Connection, and what your vision for it really was in the beginning, Tom.
We had been advertisers and in the sale business and Registered Holsteins, and we were always thinking about something. Why can't we change something just a little here? Why can't we have something to connect buyers and sellers? A, B, fast turnaround, that's prior to the internet, low cost, no nonsense, that communications on a monthly basis, timely, could help the industry. And somehow it really, really took off. And it was really a dream for me personally and Sandy. But once again, it's a team deal. It's a lot of people working together. People that really made it go were what we call editors, the ladies that ran it. A lot of them were with us for 10 years on the average. That's who really made the Cattle Connection. We were very honored that Holstein International approached us for a year and a half, and we knew we were pretty well done, and they really took the reins. Now I sit here waiting for it to come, and it's kind of different than the long hours. And it was long hours because we never missed printing or a postage deadline in 30 years, 32 years. So hats off to the staff on that deal.
And too, Tom, I think the fact that it's still arriving in people's mailboxes today, people are still enjoying the Cattle Connection, is really a testament of what you and Sandy started. So along with your involvement in many different aspects of the dairy industry that we've already talked about during this interview today, you've also really taken the time to encourage the next generation over the years. What do you enjoy about working with young people in the dairy industry?
Young people are our greatest national resource, bar none. And be it kids that are going to be farmers down the road, kids are going to be dairymen. We've always kind of made room for that ever since, prior to my decade in education. Supporting, encouraging, maybe educating a little bit for the future generation, I think is something that we have to do because it was so good for us. And, you can use the word mentor, whatever, but we try to go out and work with the youth in the local county areas, judging team coach in school, go in and give lectures at school and attend athletic events. Anything you can do to support the next generation is really important to our family, and it has been for a lot of families over the years. My favorite sale of the year has always been coming home to our county livestock auction and selling the livestock, the beef and the hogs and sheep and all that good stuff. But that's always been my favorite auction.
You've certainly done a good job of supporting youth in various different ways over the years, Tom. And one example of this is that you've helped to recognize up-and-coming dairy leaders through the creation of the Merle Howard Award, which of course is given to a top junior exhibitor at World Dairy Expo. What was your inspiration for spearheading this effort?
Uncle Merle, as he was known for years in our industry, was a very, very special person. You talk about mentoring people. There was a lot of us that Merle helped over the years. Now, Merle started his career as manager at Mooseheart Farms in Illinois, and he was very successful in the show end of things. One of the earliest Dusendorf winners, went on to be a classifier, a sale manager. After he retired, he helped Sandy and I some in the sale business. Merle, I traveled a great deal with when we were both with the Piper organization, and I'll tell you, he knew the best beer and burger joints from the Appalachians to the Rockies. And he mentored so many of us that we thought it was only appropriate to honor him with an award at Madison, an award that featured hardworking young people that were showing at Madison and recognized, the sportsmanship and integrity that Merle would want to be recognized. And it's been another successful award at Madison. This year we'll be presenting it for the 20th time, which is pretty unbelievable. But the Merle Howard Award is sought after by show people to kids. And it's just another way of honoring somebody that wasn't just my mentor. Very, very few people weren't touched by Merle. And it wasn't about cows, all it was about people and people getting along and working together. And there'll never be another Uncle Merle.
And it's always meaningful to see the past recipients lined up there on center stage too, isn't it, Tom?
It's special.
So you've also been involved in many other dairy community activities that we've yet to mention or talk about, from serving as a delegate at National Holstein Convention to serving on the Holstein Foundation Board of Trustees. How was your involvement in Holstein Association USA and the Holstein Foundation a natural fit along with all your other career and volunteer experiences?
Well, you have to start out to say that Holstein USA has been our entire lifetime has been Holstein USA. I was a delegate for some 20 years and a Wisconsin chairman of the committee for, 4 or 5 years. But I felt after several years, the time had come for me to step back, and for those with the skin in the game, the younger people that are farming, the younger people that are in business, it's time for them to really run the organization and pick up and go with it. And I've watched changes. There's challenges in every generation, but Holstein USA is still the leader worldwide in dairy cattle genetics, bar none. The Holstein Foundation was another one I thought was a learning experience, a great experience. There were challenges that was different than it was today with the finances and etc. But the progress and the advancement that people have made developing and growing Holstein Foundation is impressive, to say the least. And now our grandkids are involved, and it becomes very, very important to me again. So hats off to the people that are developing Holstein Foundation.
And I'm sure it's fun for you to see how far it's come and to have your grandkids taking advantage of some of the programs now. So, Tom, out of your many experiences and extensive involvement in the dairy industry, what stands out the most to you?
That's really a difficult question for me to answer. We've had a good run. It's been fun. It's been rewarding, but it's hard to go from education to the farm to the sale management to expo to the connection. It's all one big thing. It's all one big thing. Let's try and support the industry. Let's try and breed the best cattle in the world. Let's try and have outlets for them. The connection did a marvelous job of promoting the Registered Holstein. The sales, when we had a good sale, it meant that my heifers at the feed bunk were maybe worth just a little more, even though it wasn't here. Those are things that I hope that we left when all these phases are done. And I'm still in the learning experience. I still love big farms and try and figure out what's going on in the big farms. And it's another step. And it's almost like going to school.
Well, it's always good to be a lifelong learner, and you certainly exemplify that very well, Tom. Before we wrap up here, is there anything else that you'd like to add or mention for our listeners today?
We're going to be there forever in this industry, and it's going to change. Change is hard. Change is very hard, and you don't understand it till you get a little age on you. But if you don't change, you get driven over. I'm sitting here looking at a barn that held 25 or 30, and it was very kind to us. The Holstein business has been kind to our family for generations.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Tom. I know I enjoyed hearing more about all the different elements of your story and truly learned so much from you today. Before we wrap up officially, I'm going to ask you 5 would you rather questions just for fun. So, Tom, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, first question, cheddar or mozzarella cheese?
Cheddar, easy.
Okay, then would you rather compete in Dairy Bowl or Dairy Jeopardy?
Well, it takes a team for me, so I'll have to be on the Dairy Bowl, and hopefully my grandson Evan can join me on the team.
Great answer. Would you prefer an early morning milking or a late night barn check?
I'll take the early morning.
And then would you rather have unseasonably cold or warm weather during World Dairy Expo?
Well, the cows would like it a little cooler, but I remember out in Waterloo putting salt on ice on the wash racks, and I really don't want to go there.
Fair enough. How about perfect weather for World Dairy Expo?
And that would be better. Yeah, right down the center. Today's a beautiful day where I'm sitting.
And then final question, Tom, black and white or red and white Holstein?
Oh, I'm pretty flexible now. I would lean on the black and white because I'll lay them, but I'm really flexible and I own red and white. So yeah, it's all good. But it's been fun, Emily, and I really appreciate it.
It certainly has been fun. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Holstein Connections, Tom.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Holstein Connections. Whether you're in the barn, on the road, or just tuning in for your dose of dairy news, we're glad you're here. Until next time, this is Holstein Connections.